Hi guys, this is Meenu. Welcome back to my channel Storytale. Let's talk about Lessons in Chemistry by Garmus. I'm not a science fiction girl. I do not read science fiction. So reading a book about science is not something up my alley. But I still wanted to give this book a try. And I'm really glad that I did. This is gonna be a spoiler-free review, so you do not have to be worried about me reading it for you guys. But anyway, I was really surprised by this book. I really thought that this is gonna be a romance kind of a book, and it was for a few pages. But this book actually turned out to be much more. I did not know that this was like a feminist or women empowerment kind of a book, because the synopsis is kind of vague. It did not describe what kind of experience that I'm gonna have with this book. The way it has been represented, it felt more like a rom-com book, but it is really far away from that. It is not your rom-com book. It does have few laugh scenes, or it does have few funny scenes here and there, but this is a very hard-hitting book. There's also a lot of trigger warnings. There's a description of sexual assault in this book. There's also talk of suicide. There's also talk of many crime that has been held against women. So if that is something that bothers you or triggers you, be cautious when you pick up this book. Now let's talk a little bit about the story. The story is based around 1915 and 1960. At that time, there were not a lot of rights that were given to women. They did not have much freedom or equality or anything. Of course, the pay was not the same. They were treated a little bit different than men. The jobs or the pay or everything was very unfair to them. Even now in today's world, the situation has been a little bit better, but still we have way too far to go. But like I said, Elizabeth is a chemist or a scientist, but she has not been treated the same way, because the place where she works, Hastings Medical something, there are not any women who are actually scientists. All of them are basically secretaries. They help the male scientists, but they do not actually are scientists. So of course they do not get the same respect. And Elizabeth, even though she is a scientist at the institute, but still she does not get the same respect, or she does not get paid the same. She is researching on a particular topic which I cannot pronounce. It is something I'm not gonna even try. Actually, this is not something that I can even begin to speak. But anyway, she is researching something, and of course she is not getting the funding, she is not getting the respect, she is not getting anything. And that is how she meets the love of her life, Calvin Evans. She goes to him to ask for some equipments for her research, but of course he does not actually care about her that much, because he is also a little bit arrogant and something. He is a Nobel Prize nominated person. He is very famous at the institute. Everyone is jealous of him. He is basically a genius at the institute. So he, like any other man, actually consider her as secretary. He did not actually address her or see her. So she does what she does the best. She steals it. So in order to teach him a lesson, she steals the equipments. That of course infuriates him, and he is known for someone who actually seeks revenge. I do not remember the title that he got for that, but anyway, he's very famous for him, taking revenge on people. So of course he takes a revenge on her, but that kind of also made him feel bad for her, and then that is how they kind of develop a friendship, and eventually they both fall in love. Their love story lasted for a few moments only. It was very short, but it was very impactful and very powerful. I really loved their chemistry. I really loved their love story. It was very sweet and heartwarming, and something happened. It was very unfortunate, and because of that she ended up being a single mother. I really loved their love story and really missed it throughout the book, and I really felt bad for it. I actually even cried when that happened. It was like really heartbreaking. But anyway, Calvin was the only supporter that she had in her life. Other than him, there was no support system for her, and because of him she was getting a little bit of support from the institute or something. But after everything that happened, she lost that support too. She lost everything. She also got fired from her job. So of course it became very difficult for her to do everything, because she was jobless. She did not have any means. She does not even have a family. She is just a single mother who is trying to make ends meet. So it was of course very difficult for her, and people around her made it very difficult for her too. The only silver lining in her life is her daughter, whom she loves a lot. And there's also a show which she eventually get to star in, which was Supper at Six. Throughout the book, we see a lot of up and downs of Elizabeth's life. We see a lot of other characters and how all of these characters are related to each other. We also see Calvin's past. We also see Elizabeth's past. We also see many other characters and their past. Overall, this was a very great story with great characters. I will talk a little bit more in my like and dislike section. The first thing that I like about the book is how it talks about women's problem and how it shows them. There are a lot of problems that a woman has to face almost every day. Even in today's world, it is not that easy. There's a issue of equal pay, equality, equal rights. A woman has to be a homemaker, or if she is someone who works, then she has to take care of everything, both things. She has to be a housewife, and she also have to be earn outside. So of course it is much more difficult. Even now, if a woman actually talks about her rights, then she is very much opinionated, she is very loud, she does not know how to talk to people, she has a lot of ego, she has a lot of attitude, she is very arrogant. That is how world actually perceives her, because she fights for her rights, and that is how Elizabeth has been treated her whole life. Everyone actually have this preconceived notion about her, that she is an arrogant person, she is not a nice person, she is very beautiful, and that is why she has no credibility. She talks about her rights, like I said, and she is this no nonsense girl. She does not take shit from people, and that is why kind of make people hate her or not like her. In this book, she is not a likable person according to other people, because she is very much opinionated, and that is the same problem that I face too. Many people have actually told me that I'm very arrogant, or I'm very selfish, and I'm very opinionated because I talk about women's right. I just tell people that I am not supposed to do anything just because you're telling me to do something, because I'm a woman. I do not want to behave a certain way because you tell me to behave a certain way. So these are the things that people think, oh, she does not have any sanskar, she does not know how to talk to people. Whenever I talk about equality and talk about the responsibilities that both a woman and man has to handle, I always come off across as selfish or arrogant or something else. People always disregard my comments because they think that I'm just talking crazy. The most common phrase that I've always heard is that this is how the world is supposed to be and this is how it should be. This is how a woman has always behaved, and this is how you should behave too. This is how things has been done, and this is the way it has to be done. So this is a very common phrase that I hear almost every day. And after I get married, I know things are going to be much more difficult, because people have this preconceived notion about how a married woman should look, how she should behave, the way she should react to people, and the way she has to carry herself. She always have to wear a jewelry, she has to wear a certain kind of clothes, she has to take responsibility of both the house and the office, she has to do almost everything, she has to be this most responsible person, she has to be always classy and everything. So of course there are a lot of things that a woman is supposed to do after she gets married, and I know the same thing is gonna be this burden or the pressure is always gonna be on me after I get married. I do not know how I'm gonna handle that. I do not know about the future, but I know that these are the problems that a woman face almost on a daily basis, and that is what has been shown through Elizabeth too. At the institute, nobody respects her, everyone talks behind her back, everyone thinks that she is good at something or she is successful because of Calvin, because of the favors that she is giving him. So of course these are the things that people already assume about her. And there's also this show that she actually goes on to, the director or the people actually wants her to dress a certain way, look a certain way, behave a certain way, talk a certain way. So like I said, these all issues has been shown through that, and we do not actually get a solution by the end of this book, and that is I think the most realistic part in this book, because women do not actually get a solution for that. They deal with it, they try to overcome it, but there's still not a solution to it. It's not all black and white, I'm not gonna lie, it's not all black and white. Not all people behave that way, or not a specific gender behaves that way. I'm not talking about that, but still in this world there is still a lot of problem when it comes to equality, when it comes to treating women a certain way. Of course there are a lot of exaggeration in this book too, which I'm going to talk about later. But anyway, most of the problems that has been shown through Elizabeth is very much true. The struggles that she feels, the way she talks to people, and people actually making this preconceived notion about her, it's all true, and I can feel that through the book. I can very much relate with that. The second thing that I like about this book is the romance or the relationship between Calvin and Elizabeth. The love and the respect that both of them had for each other, I think it was very beautiful. Their romance was very short-lived, but it was so beautiful. I was in love with Calvin. I think he's one of my favorite characters of this book. I really loved him. He was such a darling. He did all of these things. He was like, he made mistakes. I'm not gonna lie, he made mistakes, but still he was such a nice character, and I really loved him. I really missed him throughout the book, and he was there present throughout the book through many things. After Elizabeth and Calvin were not together anymore, I really felt bad for Elizabeth because he was her only support system. He was the only person who believed in her, who believed in her career, who believed in her research, and I really missed that. She felt really lonely after him, and I could feel the loneliness through the books, through the pages. There's this dog 630 in the book who is the only companion that Elizabeth has been left with, and he was a darling in this book. We really get his point of view in this book, and I think he was really, adding that humor to the book, but he was also a very heartwarming character, and I really love that. The third thing that I like about this book is the writing style. I think it was very well done. This book has a lot of point of views. Main point of view is of course of Elizabeth, but we also get Calvin, we also get the dog 630, which I think was the interesting addition. There's also Harriet, and there are also other characters that we get point of view of. The only little issue that I had was that there were 3 characters in this book, and all of their name actually starts from W. So it was really difficult for me to keep track of which person is which one. There was this Walter, and there was also 2 other names that start from W, and like I said, I do not remember it because it was so difficult to keep up. So I think that was not a great choice. They could have started with any other letter. There are so many other letters in this alphabets, and W is like one of the most uncommon letters, and somehow the author chose to give that, which was I think unnecessary because like I said, I do not remember name. There was also Wesley. Was there a Wesley? I do not know, but it was very difficult for me to actually keep track of that. But other than that, the story is structured very well. I mean, there is a jump from the past to future to the past, like there are a lot of jumps, but it never gets confusing. We see past of many characters here. We see their point of view also. There are also many scenes in this book which are actually funny. It is not a laugh out loud book like the synopsis said, but it is very funny in many pages. Like it is very funny when there's an interaction between Walter, if I'm not wrong with the name, he's the TV producer, between Walter and Elizabeth regarding the show. There are a lot of things that he tells Elizabeth to do and she does not do it. She does not listen to him. She does what she does the best, and she's just being herself on the channel, and that is something that really infuriates Walter. But he's like very frustrated, but he cannot say anything. He has to take medicine to just get over with. He's almost have a heart attack, and there's like a lot of things that happen. He's worried about his job too because Elizabeth is making it very difficult. The main producer actually wants Elizabeth to of course behave a certain way, wear certain clothes, be just look attractive and everything, but Elizabeth being Elizabeth, she does not listen. She does what she wants, and Walter is in a very bad situation. He just keeps on having his calm. He tries, but Elizabeth never listens. So those are some of the funny interaction between both Elizabeth and Walter. I really loved those scenes. I was like really laughing at those moments. It was one of the most interesting part of this book. I really loved that. Now let's talk about the things that I did not like about this book. First and foremost, I think the story and the characters were exaggerated a lot. I understand that being a woman, it was very difficult for Elizabeth to be a scientist, and there are a lot of things that were unfair. There were a lot of sexist people in the institute and everywhere. But I do not like to believe that everyone is bad, or especially if a gender is totally bad. I do not like to believe that. I do not think people are that much cruel, or at least everyone is cruel. At the institute, it was really difficult for me to digest that she did not have even a single friend. She eventually makes one by the end of this book, but from the start she did not have any single one person. That was really very much difficult for me to actually believe. Not everyone is sexist and not everyone is cruel. I do not like to believe that she did not even have a single friend, or she did not have any single person who actually supported her or who even talked nicely to her. I do not like to believe that. I think that was a little bit exaggerated. Plus there are like 2 kind of sexual assault scenes in this book, and one was it was very graphic. The first one was a little bit believable, not little bit, it was a lot believable. But the second one that happened, it was just it seemed very much dramatic. It was like too much. It was too much. It just the way that when you read you'll see, but I think it was too much. It was a little bit exaggeration. That is something that I did not like. The only good people are the people that support Elizabeth. We actually find them by the end of the book, which is like she's finding all these good people or nice people by the end of the book, but she did not find anyone before. When you work at a workplace, Maybe 70% of the people do not like you or hate you or anything, but there must be 30% or even 10% or at least one person who is going to sympathize with you, who's going to be normal with you, or who does not actually care about you. I mean, they do not hate you, they just have a normal conversation, anything, just normal people who do not have any feelings towards you. So I think that would have been a little bit much better for me to digest than just thinking that everyone is just equally bad. The second issue with the book was the ending. It was very anticlimactic. I understand that book was not actually trying to have this big twist by the end of the book. It was supposed to be predictable, and it was predictable because we already knew what was happening at the background, even though Elizabeth did not know, but we knew what was happening. But still the energy kind of dies down after 80% of the book. The last 20% was very dull compared to the rest of 80% of the book. There was a lot of energy and a lot of things happening in the first 80% of the book. Then the last 20%, like I said, it was very predictable. Everything was just coming to a place. But I do not know what I was expecting, but I was expecting a little bit better. I do not know what I was expecting actually, but still I wanted a little bit of a better ending. It just felt very, like I said, anticlimactic to me. Overall, I really love this book. I really enjoy the theme that it was talking about. Women empowerment, issue with the women, especially when they have a career, the science background, everything I really enjoyed. It was a very engaging book. It did not get dull. At least for like 80% did not get dull for me. I really enjoyed it. If the trigger warnings that I've mentioned earlier is not an issue for you, I would recommend to actually pick this book up and read it at least once. This is a very empowering book and it deals with real issues, and I think everyone should give this try at least once. For me, this was a 4-star read because there were a little bit of issues with the book, but still I really enjoyed my time with it. I'm really looking forward for you guys to read this book, and do let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. I will be back again with the next video. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. I will see you soon. Bye.